Well, hello again. I'm Judy Sleed. The name of this show is The Play is the Thing. And today I have a wonderful playmate. Her name is Barbara. Hi, Barbara.
Hi, Judy.
And I know you like about 20 years ago, you took part in a play reading that I had written a play, and you were one of the characters in the play. Oh, Gregory. Do you remember?
I do. I do.
And what part did you play?
I was Gregory. I was the bird.
You were the bird.
I was the bird.
So you were the star of the show.
I actually was, yes. And I remember when I first went to the audition to meet with you, and it was two different parts you were looking at. It was another part that was that other woman had that was longer. And you wanted me, because I was like, at the time I had the hair blonde and I was into that Marilyn Monroe type of vibe. And I got a call about a little while later, and saying that I wasn't going to get the part, that someone else got it. And I was so disappointed. But then Patrick called me about a month later.
Oh, Patrick
said,
Cristiano,
yes,
he directed
and he said that there's another part, if you'd be interested, if you would like to be Gregory, the bird. So I was like, I thought a little bit. And at first, I was a little crushed. I wanted to be like the bigger part. But then I realized it's a great opportunity. It's a great play. And I figured I could get creative, which I did. And I didn't bring it with me today because I have it stored away in a chest right now and I can't find the key. That scarf that I wore over my shoulders to look like birds' wings.
The wings, yes.
And it was just a wonderful experience. And I came to all the rehearsals, remember?
Yes.
And you were so great because you were so inspiring and you were so kind and helpful to us. You really brought out the best in us in everything.
Oh.
And so I went with it, and it went very well, And actually, because of that, back then, we didn't have all the cell phones, and, the television wasn't all the regular TV that we have now. It was just like kind of the local TV. And it was pretty cool because that summer we had a couple of guests over, and we were all getting ready because the house was very small then. We only had one bathroom, and we were taking turns after the beach, taking showers and getting ready. And all of a sudden, I look up, I'm sitting on the couch, and I'm on television.
Oh.
And my sister-in-law says to me, "Barbara, is that you?" I said, "Yes, it is." And because of that, believe it or not, I had a few directors in Guildhall asking around for my number.
Oh.
And two of them actually left voice messages on my house phone. And it was pretty exciting, and at the
They
time,
wanted your autograph?
no, they wanted me to audition for parts
Oh.
because if they seen me in Oh Gregory.
They
So,
wanted-
yeah, it was really pretty exciting.
So did you ever go to those auditions?
I wasn't really able to because there was a lot going on in my life. My husband was developing at the time a building.
Developing what?
Developing a building in Las Vegas. So we had to move soon. So I wasn't able to really, and I had a mom that was not doing well, and she had me late in life, and she was in a nursing home. So I couldn't really commit. And, it's funny because, but it all turned out, it all turned out really well. And I wanted to be an actress since I was a little girl.
Oh.
And I was in plays when I was a little girl, but then I never followed it because I really was very shy back then, and I needed that push, that approval from my mother-in-law, and I didn't really get it. So I went the other way, and I went into business and corporate, office work and stuff like that. But I always wondered, I still have that in me. So we had the house out here. I'll tell you a little story, true story. we had the house out here, and I got this little flyer in the mail that there was going to be an acting class in one of the local schools here, and it was very inexpensive for 6 weeks. And Michael Nader at the time was going to be the teacher. Dex from Dynasty.
I remember Michael Nader.
Yes.
Yes, he was in a TV show, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was on All My Children, but he was on Dynasty for years, and I loved Dynasty, and I just loved Joan Collins, Alexis.
And he lived out here, and he commuted to do the show, and he came back here.
Yes.
Like you said, he had a class here.
Well, he started this little class, out here because he wasn't working for a while. And I called up, and it was already a week past. It was a 6-week class, and it was past the week. But I called up just to ask about it. And the woman says, well, you could still join. And I said, but I missed the first week. She says, that's okay. So I says, well, okay. So I told my husband. He says, all right. So at the time, I had to travel out here, for the class, because I didn't live here all the time. I had to travel from the city to get out here and everything. So I came out and everything was going good, but I took the jitney. I almost missed the jitney. It was like they told me the wrong block, and I'm running with heels and it's raining and everything, and I get out here. I finally get out to East Hampton to my house, and I have my supper and I'm getting ready. And I'm starting to get a little nervous, a little intimidated. I'm thinking, well, this guy is a big star. And, what if he doesn't think I'm good, and he was, he was working with Joan Collins and everything. So, but I says, I'm going to go. So with that, I got all nervous. I put my coat on because it was in November. It wasn't too cold, but it was cold. I put my coat on, my bag over my arm. I put my phone in my bag. I walked out of the house, closed the door. I locked the keys in the house. So I couldn't start the car that I had there. I couldn't get back in the house. All I had was my phone. And I thought, you know what, Barbara, you're not giving up. You waited all these years, you waited this long, you waited all these years, you're just going to go for it no matter what happens. So I called car service, and of course I had to wait a while for them. And I get there, and the class has already been started for a little while.
Were there a lot of people in there?
There was a good little group, And I waited by the door till they finished a little bit, and then I snuck in and I sat down. And he looked really upset, So he comes over to me and he says, what's my name? And I was so I felt like a little 6-year-old girl back in school, and I'm getting scolded by the teacher. So I just couldn't answer for a minute. And he goes, you don't even know who I am? So I was like a minute like this, and then I smiled and I said, Dex. And that totally blew him away. I said, Dex. So then he was nicer. And then he picked on me for a couple of things. He says, I'm getting up next. And we did these Sanford Meisner type techniques, which I knew nothing about. So he picks on me. So as the class goes on, I'm doing better. I'm doing better. So the class was over, and we have to leave, and it's like 9:30, 10 o'clock, and it's rainy, and I can't get in my house. My husband is not driving out until 12 o'clock at night. So I don't want to go home and sit on a cold stoop, and I'm not going to go home with somebody I don't know. So I was calling car service. And a friend, who's our friend now, Donald Scott, he was in the class.
Oh my God! He was in the play.
He was in the play. Yes, he was in the class. He took the class because Mike was a friend of his, so he took the class, and he offered to give me a ride into town. So I looked at him. I thought, well, I guess he's in the class. I guess he's okay, because women can't be too careful. I didn't know him, so we're walking.
He's a hairdresser.
Yes, very famous. So we're walking to the car, and who pulls up? But Mike in his Jeep, Jeep Cherokee type of car. He rolls down the window and he yells out, we're like, what are you doing? He says, Barbara needs a ride in town. So he goes, oh, you need a ride? I says, no, that's okay, I'm good. And so with that, I don't know, something came over me. Joan Collins, like her spirit was just coming alive. And I walked over to the car and I looked at him right in the face and I said, I said, you have no idea what I went through to get here tonight. So I says, I had to do this and that. I almost missed a jitney. I'm running with heels. I says, and then I'm all ready to leave. I says, I throw my bag over my shoulder. I says, I put my coat on. I says, and I walk out of the house and lock myself out of the house. So I said, so in a way, it's all your fault. So he looked at me like stunned, and then he cracked up laughing. He was hysterical. So then, as I'm walking away, he goes, and by the way, he goes, for your first time, you were really very good.
Oh.
And that was, if you ever saw Field of Dreams, when he says, hey, rookie, you were good. That's how it felt.
So, would you like to review the part that you played in Old Gregory?
Yes.
I have a piece of it. Would you roll it and let us see her first starring role in Old Gregory?
Greenwich Village?
You're an orifice.
Oh, Gregory.
I'll dress you in ermines and minks. Will you be mine?
Gilbert the lawyer enters.
I would have been here sooner, but these roads are atrocious.
I just want to tell you a couple of more stories if I could.
Sure.
So I continued with the class, and the very last class, Donald was my partner then, and he couldn't make it. So Mike called my house. My husband answered, and he was on the phone with someone at work, and he says, I have to call you back. He goes, Michael Nader is on the phone for Barbara. So I got on the phone, and he said to me, I just have to let you know that Donald can't make it tonight. And that other partner that you had before, he's not coming back to the class. So he says, so I'm going to do the scene with you.
Uh-oh.
So I says, oh, so he goes, so you're going to have to forget that it's me. So something in me sounded like, he sounded a little uppity when he said it. So I thought, what would Joan do? I have to bring him down a peg.
Oh.
So the way it was we were in front of the class, and it wasn't really a stage, but it was like a stage, and it was about 10 feet apart, the two chairs facing each other. And he had told me, he says, do you ever see the movie with Rita Hayworth where she flips her hair, because my hair was longer? I said, yes. He said, do you think you could do that? I said, yeah, I think I could. So and he says, I want you to stand up, flip your hair, and then I want you to sit down and say your line. I says, okay. So we did that. We said the lines back and forth. I stood up. I did the flip of the hair perfectly, but I didn't sit back down. I put my hands on my hips, and I seductively walked towards him. And I leaned down, and he was such a good actor. I leaned down to his face on the chair, and he knew just how to adjust his face to my face, and we said our lines. And I had this long black scarf, very soft, that I kind of hit him in the face and brushed it across. And then I went back to my seat. And he was like stunned, and he thought after he told me that was great. Like he couldn't believe it that I was able to just do that in improv. And after the class, I felt so powerful. My husband wasn't out that weekend. It was just me.
So how did you get it?
Well, I had my car. This time I had my car. So I drove I thought to myself, this is the first time I don't have to report back to my mother or my husband. I'm free, I can do what I want. So I was so excited. So I drove to the little beach by my house, and all the bright lights were on, and the boats were still in the water, and I could hear the clanking of the cowbells on the ships, the sailboats. And I had a really beautiful, cool song playing on the radio on my car. I got out of the car, put it in park. I got out of the car for a few minutes, and I was listening to the song, and I just walked a couple of feet away from my car, and I twirled around like a little girl. I was so happy. And I looked down, and there was a little pair of blue-rimmed plastic sunglasses, brand new, left from the summer, from a little girl. So I picked them up, and I still have them, and I feel like that was my little girl moment, like connecting with my little inner child. There was an Oprah moment.
Oh.
So, yeah, I'll never forget that. And then after I did, some little things came up, but that was like really letting me know that you can do it. You could always do it, and I finally had the chance. But then I had to move to Las Vegas with my husband. And we had all kinds of things going on. At first, he was developing this building, and he was being interviewed with these big parties with the mayor, Oscar Goodman, who used to walk around with a gin tonic in his hand and went to all these parties. It was very exciting. But then, of course, the market crashed. So that didn't last. But then he ended up working for Sands for Sheldon Adelson. And he used to.
Did you ever get in touch with Mike Nader after you moved to Vegas?
No, because he moved away too. He moved to California, and nobody was really in touch after that. I wish we could have, but and he passed away not too long ago.
I know, I heard about that.
That was very sad. He got some kind of cancer.
That was a few years ago.
Yeah, a few years ago. It goes fast, but I had some little things after that, but I've also went into other things. I've been doing very good photography. I take amazing pictures of the ocean. I take pictures of objects in nature that when you look at them, people say, oh, wow, what is that? And then I tell them, and they're like, wow, that's what that is. And I've also been writing. I've been writing poetry, a couple of poems I want to get published, but I didn't copyright them yet. And I'm also going to put a little book together with some very interesting stories of my life, little stories, people I've met. And I want to put that in a little book, like a little short story book. And I also have an idea, a very funny idea for
For a what? A play?
For a screenplay. A very funny idea. Sort of about what goes on really in the top corporate world with people behind closed doors. What kind of conversations are there? Sometimes they're very, very comical. Of course, you'd have to change it a little bit. Are you going to
write this from experience, things you heard?
Well, let's just say it's all fiction, wink, wink. But, some things, of course, will have to be, I guess, exaggerated a little bit. But some of it, I've thought of the different lines, and I think it would be a perfect play for out here someday. This is far in the future, and I'm nowhere where you are, But I would like you to be my mentor maybe someday. You can give me some advice. You could be my mentor.
Oh.
Because you're the best. I mean, O. Gregory is a brilliant play. It really is. I mean, it's funny, it's interesting, it's really great. It really is. And it would be great for out here too, for one of the big theaters, like Guildhall.
Because it's not dated. It could.
No, it's not dated at all. It's very, very interesting and funny. And it's timeless, and you don't always have that.
Well, it is very interesting the way you got in touch with me. As I was saying that week on a Monday, I got a phone call from Mike, who was a guest on my show like 30 years ago. And I got a notice from here, LTV, that I should call this Mike Sergio.
Oh.
And he has a TV show here, and he wanted me to be a guest, which I was last week. And then the same week, like on a Friday, you called me from the past. That was very interesting. So I'm very happy to see you and telling me all these things that you've been doing in your life. You're an actress, you're a photographer, a writer, and write poetry. But that's what happens when somebody's an artist. Then you do everything. Like, you're talented. It's an innate talent.
True. Thank you.
Because
You
that's,
too.
that's what I felt about myself when I started writing these plays. It was like I couldn't believe that I was writing all these things. It was like an innate talent that's God given.
Yes. Yes.
So at the play, Oh Gregory, when they showed that segment, I inserted Dan Retina in that play, who originated Dance Paper. Dance Paper is a very famous magazine out here, and Dan was in that play,
Yes, I remember.
and of course his lines also he spoke very softly. People could hardly hear him, but it would be if he would. I don't know if he remembers doing this. Maybe if we remind him, maybe he would be interested in
Yeah.
taking it and to another level.
It wouldn't hurt, right?
And it would make his paper more famous.
True. True.
Yes, and we could give him more lines in it. Because in the beginning, Rob Anthony was talking on the phone to Dan, but in my play, I didn't have Dan answer.
Right.
It was just Rob talking to him.
Right.
So we could rewrite it, and actually you could see Rob talking to Dan. Rob's role was RH, the manufacturer of garments.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. So a lot can be done if people are interested. So, like you said, we should ask Steven Spielberg.
Yes. You know.
Yeah, what would be more natural than because he's out here.
That's true.
Yes, except I don't have his address or phone number.
Well, maybe we could find out. Somebody
Yes.
must know. You know, I think he would be very honored if he had the time because, I mean, you know, all that you've done, you're a Holocaust survivor. You know, that whole documentary on you, I mean, that's a big deal, you know, and I mean, I'm sure, and he seems like everybody says he's a really nice person. He's very down to earth, and, you know, he may be interested. It doesn't hurt to ask.
Yeah,
You know, he may be too busy, but what if he's not?
yeah.
You know, what if he's taking a break?
Do you remember at least one line that you had to say in the play? I think some of the lines were naughty, wasn't
Some
it?
of them were naughty, and I don't want to say on the interview right now. He's got an itch. Oh, but I'll take you to Hawaii, Bermuda. I
Yeah.
love you. You know,
Yeah.
those were nice. But
Yes.
then he said what he had to say, you know.
Yeah.
But I love the whole experience, and like I said, working with you was such a pleasure because you were so supportive of us and encouraging, you know, and you're so kind, you know, and people don't realize that that's how you have to be with actors. Some people, directors are like that. I don't know if they all are, but you need to do that because it makes the actor comfortable and we can open up even more, you know.
Well, thank you.
It really helps, you know. And it's funny because I've been meaning to look you up and call you for a few years now, and different things get in the way. And when I moved back, it was so crazy. My house was being renovated and different. Then COVID hit. It was so crazy. But this one day I called you, I think it was a Sunday. I said to my husband, that's it, I'm just calling Judy today. I'm not putting it off anymore. I'm going to see if I can get her number and call her because I just wanted to see if you were still okay. And I wanted to let you know that what you meant to me, giving me
Well,
my
thank you.
first chance because I didn't have the experience.
I need a lot of
It meant a lot to
uplifting.
me. It did.
Yes, because I am, quite old.
I know, you don't look it though. You don't look your age, and you.
And I don't get I'm I'm not busy at all, and I have a lot of time on my hand, and that takes me to places where it's not pleasant.
Yeah.
So when I get people like you who telling me wonderful things, it helps. It gives me a lift.
Oh, I'm glad.
And we came to the end of this show, and I'm so happy you got here and honored me with your presence on this show. So thank you, Barbara, and maybe we could do this again. Maybe we could do some things together. Like you said, you want to do a play, and I would be very happy and interested in helping you.
Oh, thank you. That means so much to me. It really does.
Okay, so here is another half hour that went by. The play is the thing.